Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. I'm Rob Evans. Welcome to Daybreak Plus. We're breaking down all the news you may have missed overnight and digging deep into what matters to you. We begin at the Texas State Capitol, where state lawmakers are pushing forward several new measures aimed at tightening bail laws. First off, Senate Bill 9 would require a judge, not a magistrate, to set the initial bond for anyone accused of committing a crime while out on parole. It would also expand the list of offenses that qualify or disqualify someone from being released on a personal bond. Another bill, Senate Bill 40, would block cities and counties from using taxpayer dollars to fund nonprofits that pay for bail bonds. Meanwhile, two proposed constitutional amendments also heading to voters this November. Senate Joint Resolution 1 would allow judges to deny bail to undocumented immigrants charged with certain felonies. SJR 5 would require judges to deny bail to those accused of certain violent crimes. Now, those bills still have to go back to the Senate for any further changes. Now, the House's approval of the bail package is a big victory for the governor, though. He's made tightening the state's bail laws an emergency item for 3 straight sessions. Here was the governor's reaction after the vote. Take a listen.
Move to postpone further consideration.
Too many people have been murdered because of the broken bail system that we've had. And the members of the House stepped up and did what they needed to do for their constituents, which is cast a vote. It's going to save lives in their districts. I applaud them for that.
Now, SJR 1 passed with just 88 votes, but in order for constitutional amendments to pass in the House and end up on the ballot, they have to have 100 votes. So lawmakers needed to find at least 12 more supporters before the final vote, which is expected today. State Representative Aaron Gomez expressed concern the magistrates responsible for bail don't have the training or resources to determine defendants' immigration status. Take a listen.
There are immigration judges who spend hours making this careful determination, entire courts that have been carved out alone to make these very carefully planned out judicious determinations.
The bill will still have to go back to the Senate, where lawmakers in that chamber can agree to the changes that were made or request a conference committee to hash out the difference. Well, 6 of 10 inmates who broke out of a New Orleans jail are still on the run, and officials are using facial recognition technology to track them down. ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports the jailbreak is raising a lot of questions, and big ones, about jail staffing across the country.
Overnight, new video of a 4th inmate taken back into custody in New Orleans. After this jailbreak last Friday, 6 men are still on the run, including murder suspects.
The longer it stretches, the more risk is at hand.
Investigators say the inmates took advantage of defective locks and a hole behind a toilet to escape, leaving behind the message, "Too easy, LOL." The local district attorney says some of his staff members have now left town fearing for their lives.
2 of the lawyers got out of town this weekend with their families out of fear of retribution.
Investigators believe the escapees are getting help.
We think that there are friends, family who are helping.
The jailbreak highlights overcrowding and other security concerns at the facility, with 3 employees already suspended. Questions now being raised about why 10 inmates were held in a single area on the first floor. Questions also raised about the delay in notifying law enforcement about the escape. And now controversy over how one escapee was tracked down. Cameras equipped with facial recognition technology helped identify Kendall Miles in the French Quarter, leading to his capture.
This is the first ever case that we've seen in the United States where Dragnet facial recognition, identifying everyone going across video feeds constantly, has ever been used in the United States.
The New Orleans City Council has allowed police to use facial recognition, but only to identify specific suspects in violent crime investigations. However, police say they also get tips from a private nonprofit called Project NOLA, which runs a network of hundreds of facial recognition cameras. The Washington Post reports New Orleans police have been secretly relying on this network for years. Critics say the technology can lead to false identifications.
There's been error rates between 80 and 90%. That means 9 out of every 10 times that the system says, hey, here's someone from our watch list, it's actually a false alarm.
4 states and several cities have banned police from using facial recognition for live tracking. Experts warn the systems are less accurate identifying people of color, older people, and women. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Well, the Supreme Court just gave the go-ahead for the government to end temporary protected status, or TPS, for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans, which means they could now lose their legal right to stay and work in the United States. Critics say it's the biggest rollback of immigration status in modern history and condemn the lack of clarity. This decision could affect other countries' TPS holders as well, like those from Haiti, Cameroon, and Afghanistan. Now, the Biden administration had extended protections, but that move was reversed by the new DHS secretary, sparking legal battles. And former President Biden's late-stage cancer diagnosis is raising new questions about his previous health screenings. President Donald Trump is asking if the public could have been notified earlier when Biden was in office. The president also appearing to cast doubt on Biden's doctors. Take a listen.
I think people should try and find out what happened. Maybe it was the same doctor, and somebody is not telling the facts. That's a big problem. I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time.
The president there inaccurately referring to his diagnosis as stage 9. It's a likely reference to his Gleason score of 9. That scale out of 10 measures how aggressive cancer cells appear to be. Meanwhile, a prostate specialist at Duke University calls the timeline of the former president's diagnosis, quote, perfectly reasonable and not medically unusual. It is now 7:07. Let's get a look at weather and traffic with Casey in hand. Starting with Casey, and to give some good news about some humidity, dehumidification.
Yes. Yeah, very technical term there. Yeah, we'll be looking at a drop in humidity beginning this morning. We're going to feel it throughout the day, that humidity taking a nice plunge as this cold front pushes on through the area behind this dry line that'll be moving through first. Out ahead of that, man, we are still on the humid side of things. Look at all the drier air, though, filtering in across at least West Texas right now. There's dew points elsewhere here locally, currently sitting in those middle 70s. You can see all that humid air, but hey, Mason, look at the beige now. That drier air beginning to edge its way into the hill country, and this will continue to spread its way in from west east, eventually across the I-35 corridor as we head closer to about 10 o'clock this morning. So that relief, it's hours away here, and then a nice dry heat shaping up region wide as we head into this afternoon. That'll also help scour out the cloud cover that's been kind of pesky and persistent each and every morning. How long does the humidity last? Not for very long, but we'll soak in the couple days that we can get here. Notice it bumps back up already by Thursday and sticks around into your Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be warm. It's going to be humid for your Memorial Day weekend. Very appropriate for the unofficial start of summer. And I'm also going to be talking about some rain chances that we'll be tracking heading into the weekend as well. What this front will not do is knock down our high temperatures. We will continue with these highs still in the middle 90s. The warmth sticks around, but we should at least see a little bit of a cooler night tonight, as that drier air will make it easier to cool things down across the area. Out the door right now, look for what's just going to be a sky looking like this. A lot of high clouds overhead, a little bit hazy too. Those temperatures currently sitting in the upper 70s right now. Those winds out of the south with dew points in the middle 70s. We'll continue to watch for this warm, humid air for the next few hours before we start to feel that nice drop in humidity by later this morning. Wind shifting back to the north and west across the hill country will bring it into that area first, closer to around 8 o'clock or so this morning, and then we'll continue to see that spread off to the east. We'll watch for that sunny sky making a nice comeback for this afternoon. It actually would be a really nice afternoon to maybe take lunch outside on the patio, soak in some of this drier heat that we'll get to enjoy today, and then we'll continue with the drier conditions as we head into tonight. Tomorrow is still going to be featuring a pretty comfortable day with that lower humidity sticking around through one more day before we'll start to see it gradually make a comeback by Thursday. Highs today, low to middle 90s. We're still going to be running well above our average high, but again should be more bearable, and we will not see those heat indices climb into the triple digits as we've seen each and every afternoon. Highs tomorrow, very similar, middle 90s back with us with a partly sunny sky. Those winds will begin to shift back out of the southeast by the afternoon, and that's what's going to start to usher in some of that humidity. For your Memorial Day weekend right now, Saturday looking dry, partly cloudy and warm at 98 degrees. Sunday is when we start to see some changes. We'll start to see some isolated showers and storms. Right now, that rain chance is just a 20% chance. So Sunday's not going to be a washout as we're beginning to make these outdoor holiday weekend plans. Monday's the day that we'll have to watch out for. Right now, just a 30% chance for rain and storms. I do think there's a decent potential that we'll have to bump that percentage up, though, as it has been trending wetter for Monday. Notice as we time things out, Saturday again will be a nice dry day. Winds out of the south, though, means it's going to be hot and it's going to be humid. By Sunday, Sunday, we start to see some of those spotty showers and storms across the area. Coverage likely going to be pretty hit or miss on Sunday, which is why Sunday, again, I don't think it's going to be too bad of a day for us. Monday, though, we look at what's likely going to be a cold front push on through the area. This will likely increase our coverage of those showers and storms, and I do anticipate that one of the things we may have to watch out for as that front moves through is a possibility to see some stronger storms, possibly even some severe storms across the area. So that's something we're going to be kind of fine-tuning here as we head into the next several days and get closer to the holiday weekend. In the meantime, tomorrow dry, 95 degrees. We'll continue to watch that humidity on the rise. Milder mornings back with us. We'll see the return of those muggy starts to the day. Dry for Friday, dry for Saturday, with those rain chances on the rise by Sunday and Monday.
Ooh, an interesting 7-day there. It's going to feel nice out there today. Thank you so much, KC, and a good Tuesday morning to you, Central Texas. Let's get you up, get you out the door, get your coffee going. We are taking a live look right now at Mopac. Still looking all clear there in the Camp Mabry area. We are moving and grooving right along and taking a look along I-35, seeing some minor slowdowns out there, but we are in pretty good shape as we are heading out today to start our Tuesday. We do still have a working crash out near Steiner Ranch right now, northbound on 620. Good news is it's just blocking one lane, and we've got some sunlight to help us out. I know this area can get so dark in the morning, so hopefully we can get that cleared up for you pretty quickly. We had a stalled vehicle approaching or southbound on Research heading towards the North Shoal Creek area. That is all cleared up, no longer a concern. As I showed you in that live camera, Mopac is looking pretty good. We do have some slowdowns, though, coming in from Onion Creek, kind of starting at that 45 toll road there and then moving in from there. But as you can see, it clears up as soon as you get to Slaughter, and then not too shabby as you were heading in towards that downtown area. We also had a crash a little bit earlier south of Circuit of the Americas that was impacting the northbound lanes on the 130 toll road. That is no longer a concern. We do have a little bit of debris popping up here and there, so just something to be aware of. As you can see, though, it is slowing down. That stop and go southbound from Round Rock on I-35 right now, so definitely feeling kind of that morning rush as we're heading out the door. But as far as crashes go, we've been in pretty good shape so far this morning. Let's take a look at those drive times as well. Under 45 minutes at this time of the hour is always a victory coming in from Buda, but as you can see, 22 miles per hour. We're not moving very quickly. We are under 20 minutes if you are coming in my Round Rockers today, traveling southbound. That'll get you to 183. And then Mopac, just proving I'm not lying to you. We are still in pretty good shape. Hasn't gone evil on us yet. We've got 15 minutes there, and that'll get you from Lewis Henna to downtown and vice versa heading out the door this morning. 183 Lewis Henna to Loop 360 will get you 6 minutes, so looking good there. Ben White to I-35, that stretch of 183 also looking good. And if you're in the mood for a view, there's going to be a lot of people on the water today. I already know it. That Pennybacker Bridge, I love driving over it there on Loop 360. Under 10 minutes to get your Tuesday started. Happy Tuesday, Rob.
Well, happy Tuesday to you too, Hannah. Thank you very much. The U.S. Transportation Secretary is stopping in Austin today. Sean Duffy plans to talk about how his department will implement one of President Donald Trump's recent executive orders. It creates new job requirements for truck drivers, including English language requirements. KVUE will have much more coverage of the Secretary's visit later today. Well, it's almost summertime, and that's, of course, when you make some of your best childhood memories, right? What was your favorite childhood memory of a summer? Think about that. It can also be a dangerous time, though. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has some tips to keep your kids safe.
For many kids, summertime is all about swimming, eating ice cream, and just kicking back on those lazy, carefree days. But summer can also be one of the most dangerous times for kids. According to Safe Kids Worldwide, about 40% of child injury deaths happen between May and August, the so-called 100 deadliest days of summer.
We want to highlight this time for families so that they can ensure that they know how to keep their children safe. Some of the types of injuries that we see in the summer include motor vehicle crashes, drowning, bike and pedestrian injuries, as well as hot car deaths.
Chief Medical Officer for Safe Kids Worldwide, Sadiqa Kendi, says those injuries are preventable. And with so many kids in the water during the summer, water safety is key, especially since a drowning can happen within 20 to 30 seconds and often happens quietly.
There's not splashing, there's not yelling, as is often depicted. And so it's important for there to be a water watcher to make sure that there's someone whose only job job is to watch the children in the water, and even to be in the water within arm's length of a child if it's a younger child or a child that doesn't have strong swimming skills.
When kids hop on bikes, scooters, and skateboards, Kendi says it's important for safety equipment not just to be worn, but that it also fits correctly.
It's really important to protect the most valuable asset, which is the child's brain. And so wearing a helmet that fits appropriately is really important. It should fit square on the head. The chin strap should be connected and should be snug against the chin. And it should be worn every single time they're on their bike.
Other precautions parents can take to keep kids safe this summer: make sure children have swimming lessons and those around them know CPR. If infants are sleeping away from home, make sure they're on a firm surface sleeping on their backs. And when in a car, check that children are in the appropriate car seat or booster, depending on their age and size. And Kendi says with temperatures heating up, avoid hot car deaths by never leaving kids in the back seat.
Any children left in cars, even for 10 minutes, the car can heat up about 20 degrees. And so ensuring that you know that your child is out of the car, you've left something in the back seat to ensure that when you are getting out of the car, all children are out is really important.
SafeKids.org has more information on various types of injury prevention and other helpful resources to help you and your family have a safe and fun summer. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And speaking of summer, a summer festival that's been in Austin for nearly 3 decades is having some money trouble. This year's Jump On It is just 2 weeks away, but the festival's future is uncertain. Here's KVUE's Darynisha Heron.
It gave us something to do as young people, as far as positive youth development.
Bill Wallace is one of many Native Black Austinites who call Jump On It community event a core memory of their childhood.
You just see a sea of black and brown people out here like, yeah, it was a thing.
Charles Bird, known as Nook Turner, founded the event as a teen in 1997 with the goal to not only revive Rosewood Park, the first public park in Austin for the Black community, but also build fellowship and pride through music.
Another main focus of Jump On It was to kind of quell the violence, the gang violence, those kind of things.
Nook says he worries this year's annual week-long event may have to be cut short, and it could be the last due to many reasons, including the impacts of gentrification in East Austin.
The lack of supportive venues that understand what Jump On It do. We start getting profiled and we start seeing that, so that's been the biggest challenge this year outside of the monetary.
And when it comes to funding, Nook says while they still have free events for the family like Park Day and basketball games, in recent years they've had to make the concerts and panels ticketed to afford to keep the event going. And this year they've lost a chunk of funding after the federal government took away help for DEI programs.
We've probably lost altogether probably about 60 grand in funding that we would have gotten.
He says since 2018, they've been operating on a deficit that is just unsustainable now. So with the event happening in less than a couple of weeks, he's calling on the community for support and donation.
If Jump On It is not able to continue here, it's like that nail in the coffin to say, Native Black Austinites, we out of there, the fight is over. I'm staying positive and I'm staying focused on doing what I can do to the last minute to keep it going.
We got a statement from a council member, Natasha Harper Madison, who says she also grew up going to Jump On It. She said it's not just entertainment, but economic opportunity for vendors, for mentorship and programming for youth in East Austin. She wrote, quote, "I'm incredibly proud to support efforts to honor the legacy of Jump On It and preserve its spirit for future generations. It represents everything we're still working toward: creative expression, cultural preservation, economic empowerment, and sense of community, all rooted right here in East Austin." If you'd like to donate, you can look for this story on our website, KVUE.com. It is now 7:20, and nearly 10 years ago, a historic flood killed 13 people in Wimberly. Memorial Day weekend, hundreds of people left without a home. This weekend, the city is remembering the victims with the Wimberly Strong Memorial Concert. The proceeds will go to first responders who faced overwhelming challenges. The night of May 23rd, 2015, Wimberly Fire Assistant Chief Christopher Robbins was a volunteer with the fire department. Take a listen.
You know, the first 30 minutes of that incident, you know, we had been taxed to the limit. You know, we had over 80 swiftwater calls within that time, and something that would really put down an entire county. And the devastation hadn't stopped with Wimberly.
Now, the concert this Saturday from 1 to 6 p.m. at Blue Hole Regional Park. The Jesse Stratton Band and Gary P. Nunn will perform. To get tickets, look for the story again on KVUE.com. Well, do you think your cell phone bill is too high? I think everybody says it is, right? So many of us are overpaying by hundreds of dollars every year. Consumer Reports, though, says you can save up to $500 a year without sacrificing coverage or reliability. Here's Jenny Lee.
For years, David Morgan stuck with Verizon, even as his monthly bill kept climbing. Like many of us, he was paying more than he wanted for cell phone service.
I felt stuck.
But after 12 years, enough was enough. David said he was through paying for extras he didn't need.
I didn't understand why I was paying so much. I couldn't get clarity in terms of what exactly I was paying for.
It's a common issue. The big three wireless networks, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, dominate the market. But Consumer Reports says there are other, cheaper options. And switching to a smaller one like David did can save you serious money. These smaller providers, called MVNOs, can charge less for service since they rent space on the same networks built and maintained by the big three.
U.S. Mobile, Consumer Cellular, and Ting top our ratings, beating out the big guys on value and customer support.
To find the best deal for you, check your bill or your phone's settings to find out how much data you use each month. You may be paying for more than you need.
Smaller companies typically offer more options, including lower data plans, and some even let you add on data as needed.
Also, pick the best provider for your area. Choose an MVNO that uses the same network if you get great service now.
People often worry about slowdowns with a smaller carrier, but you probably won't notice a difference.
To keep your number, activate your new plan before canceling the old one. Make sure your phone is paid off, unlocked, and compatible with your new provider. You'll likely need to install a new SIM card or eSIM. It only takes a few simple steps to start saving. And for David, the switch led to even bigger changes.
When I made the switch from Verizon to Ting, it inspired me to look at other bills that I had, and that included my internet and TV bill.
And the savings by switching keep adding up. Jenny Lee, KVUE News.
And look at your car insurance and your home insurance. Those things every year you should really take a look at because you will be shocked at how much you can save. All right, and make sure you also, of course, take advantage of the no-brainer cost savings like enrolling in paperless, automatic billing, signing up for any type of discounts for seniors, veterans, teachers, whatever it is that you may have. And we leave you this morning with something to talk about. Some high-tech help, likely saving the life of a teenage girl swimming off the Florida Panhandle. She started having trouble in the water. A fisherman used his drone to help rescue her. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has that story.
I was shaking pretty bad. It was nerve-wracking. I about cried.
Andrew Smith says he was fishing on Pensacola Beach when he saw a swimmer struggling in a rip current about 100 yards offshore.
I was sitting there, and this girl came running asking if anybody could swim, and I said, no, I absolutely cannot swim. And I looked down at the drone, and I was like, well, the drone can swim, I can't.
That's when Smith grabbed his drone, which he uses to cast bait. He tied a flotation device to the drone, hoping to fly it out to the teenage girl, but he missed on the first try.
And I flew it out, and it was a terrible miss. I released it too early. It was really windy.
By now, the girl had been battling the rip current for 5 long minutes. Then someone gave Smith a second flotation device.
I lowered it until you could see her hands grab it, and then I lowered it a little more and I released it, and then she climbed on it and started floating. If it wasn't for that second drop, she wouldn't have made it. The EMS said she wouldn't have made it, the cops and the lifeguards.
The girl was able to use the flotation device until first responders arrived. The use of that drone to make a life-saving rescue is now prompting other public safety officials to look into using drones as lifeguards.
There's definitely a possibility, and we're looking at it.
Smith says the girl's father thanked him, calling him a guardian angel. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
The right place at the right time, right? Glad to see that little kid is okay. And that's it for Daybreak Plus. Let us know what you'd like to talk about. Message us at 512-459-9442. You have to text it. Calling doesn't work, but 512-459-9442. You can also message me if you want on social media at Rob Evans TV on Instagram, Facebook, or X. And stick around because Daybreak continues right here on KVUE Plus. Goodbye, everybody.